So I recently got married, as many of you may know, and we're gonna do a little Q&A on all things wedding, how I started planning, where we started planning, why we chose the destination wedding. This was kind of like the overall inspo that we completely nailed of what we were looking for. And let's get a little more detailed into it. So first of all, why did we choose a destination wedding? That is a popular question I've been getting asked. The reality is, my partner and I live over 4,000 kilometers away from our families or part of our families. And so wherever we were going to have a wedding was going to be a destination for someone. We like to travel. It's something that has been a large part of our relationship for a very long time. Just doing a destination and everyone traveling is like very on brand with us. And we knew that we wanted a very small wedding. Hi. And our families are also people who really enjoy traveling. And so we thought that it just fitted what we wanted, and so we did it. That's why we chose that. Also, the thing is in North America, it is so expensive to get married. And so we basically looked at like a cost analysis of we could spend X amount of our dollars on a single day wedding here, or we could do a family vacation wedding trip over 4 or 5 days. That would be the same amount of cost, including the wedding day, as it would be for the one day back here. And so when we looked at that, we were like, well, spending all that money in one day for us just like isn't something we wanted to do, but spending that money to have a family trip with both of our families for 5 days, that would create so many memories beyond just the wedding, was something that we were like, yeah, duh, let's do that. That makes more sense for us. Hi. Why did we choose Spain or Mallorca specifically? It was on our list. Mallorca had been on our travel list for a little while. We had kind of an aesthetic of the wedding we were going for, and Mallorca fit that vibe really well. And I spent probably like a month, maybe weeks, just looking at venues in a bunch of different places in Europe. And there was one single place I found, which wasn't even a wedding venue, that I absolutely loved, that kind of fit the vision I had perfectly. I reached out to them and I was like, hey, any chance I can get married here? And when they said yes, it was just like, all right, this is perfect. Mallorca it was. Never been there before this, and no, we did not visit the wedding venue prior to arriving for our wedding trip, wedding day. How far in advance do we start planning? We didn't start planning that early. We had been engaged for 4 years by the time we had gotten married. We started planning the wedding October of 2024 and got married in May of 2025, so not very long at all. How many guests did we have? We just did immediate family only, which was 13 of us, including ourselves. And I got asked a lot if I regretted that decision of having it so small, having no friends there. Absolutely not. We loved it. It was very us. It was very personal. It was very intimate. It never felt like a performance, which we definitely didn't want in a wedding day, and understand how it could get there if you were having a huge wedding. It kind of feels more performative at that point in my mind. It just very much felt like us, and if things went sideways, we were like, who cares? This is just like family and good vibes, and absolutely no regrets on that end. Some people also asked me if we had pushback from our friends of, people being a little salty that they weren't invited. Our friends, one, weren't shocked because they know us, and a definition of a true friend is they're gonna support you regardless. And so we were just met with so much excitement and support. No like saltiness or hostility, and just like excitement and being like, oh, I can't wait to see the photos and everything. So no, we have an amazing supportive group of friends who are like, you guys do you. What was the first vendor we had booked aside from the venue? Photographer, I think it was the photographer, and that was one of the more important ones to me, is photography and videography. We unfortunately had a few vendors cancel last minute on us, and our videographers were one of them, but the videographers that we found after, I think it all just worked out how it was supposed to, because they were phenomenal. Like, their work is phenomenal. They are so talented, but also just really nice people that we wanted to be around. And I think that when you have such a small, intimate wedding, who you bring into that space as a vendor is really important. They were just like phenomenal. So I think photographer, and our photographer is amazing too. And I had kind of known her beforehand, and she was exactly how I thought she would be, and lovely, and just so talented. And we're not playing fetch right now, honey. I know. I think photographer was the first one we had. Did we enjoy the process leading up to it, or did it stress us out planning internationally? Enjoyed it, yes. I found there to be quite a difference between North American wedding culture, or just like email culture in general, and then with Europe, it's just a lot more chill. Like I feel like I'm used to such a high level of urgency all the time when it comes to emails and planning. And every time we were dealing with a European vendor, it was like a lot just more chill, which took me a bit to get used to because patience is something I have to practice, but also it was nice because it gave this like calming, chill, everything's gonna be cool, like element to the wedding as well, and not always like strung out for urgency. The time zone was a bit challenging as well, just like anytime we were trying to schedule a meeting or whatnot, we had to work around that, but I mean, I'm used to that at this point, being on the West Coast time zone. Did we have a planner, and if so, what was the most valuable thing they offered? So we opted for a partial planner. I sourced every single vendor that we had. I did a lot of the pre-planning. Sometimes there was language barriers, and so our planner would come in and help out with that, or just kind of like tell us about the space because she lived locally to it, and we had a little bit of like touch points here and there. So the main thing that she was able to offer us was day of coordination. So seamless. She took care of absolutely everything. How we kind of worked was like I would find all of the vendors with my partner, and then we would lock them in, we'd negotiate the price, we would do all of like approvals for things, and then once everything was booked, we would pass them off to her, and she would do like, you know, this is the time of day, this is the run of show, this is when you're arriving, this is the address, and then the full day of coordination, which was invaluable. Like I didn't have to do anything on the day, and it was exactly how I wanted it to be. What was the most challenging part of the planning process? I think we just got unlucky a few times with some last minute cancellations. So it was like once we thought we had everything locked in, something would cancel, and then it was like a last minute kind of scramble to find people who had availability, but also who fit the aesthetic and kind of that personality that we wanted to come into for the wedding day. Is that what you would say the most frustrating part of planning was? Or the conversion of Canadian dollars to euros. That was a little defeating at times. Any advice for someone planning a wedding overseas? I don't know. I feel like we're just like very chill about it. We were at a point where once everything was locked in, we're just like, it's gonna be amazing no matter what happens day of, because we're gonna have so much fun and our families are gonna have so much fun and it's gonna feel very us. And so like we weren't really stressed about it. Planning overseas, yes, a wedding coordinator for like language and logistics, and someone who lives local too. Like for example, we found a local bakery that we wanted to do a cake because we needed to be gluten-free and whatever. And she actually went there and coordinated all of that, which we wouldn't have been able to do. And like our venue did offer us to come out beforehand, and we could have, you know, met with the chef, and we just like didn't want to do that because it would be quite expensive to build a whole other trip out of it, and we just weren't really interested. So I would say getting a coordinator of some sort, a partial planner, and then just being, I guess, mindful of like location and aesthetic and the things that you do and don't want and don't need, and not everything that's like on a wedding checklist of like, you need to have this day, like says who? If you don't want it, you don't have to have it. That's what I would say for planning overseas. Also keep in mind just like general weather, and then communicating that to your guests as well. We had like pretty frequent communications and itineraries and packing lists and stuff sent out to our families just to help everyone kind of like prepare, but also share like what the weather could be like so people could plan outfits, run of show itineraries for day to day so people could kind of know what to expect, or even getting your families things like SIM cards is what we did so we could just all stay connected, and figuring out who's doing rental cars and like communicating everything that way. Yeah, it's more like trip planning when you do destination versus just wedding planning. And I love trip planning, so that was like where I thrived. Where is my dress from? So funny story, I went dress shopping. And when we were dress shopping, I asked my sister-in-law, I was like, can you just like film some clips of me in dresses so I can remember everything I tried on and things I did like and things I didn't like. And then I ended up clipping together a TikTok video from it and sharing it online. The designer, I didn't realize, but the first like 5 or 6 dresses in the video, which obviously were all dresses that I loved, were by the same designer, and she just owns multiple different brands. So I didn't know that at the time. She was sent the video, and then she reached out to be like, have you found your dress yet? If not, do you want to work together to customize one? And I was like, absolutely I do, Gabby. She is phenomenal. She's also local to me. She's in Vancouver. And so I was like, this is so cool to me because one, I love her design. She's so talented. She's a woman, I'd say she's around my age in business, absolutely crushing it. What a cool opportunity to be able to customize my own dress. So we went to her shop Love Note, which has all of her lines, and tried on a ton of different things, some of the things from her unreleased collection yet. I had an idea in my mind of exactly what I wanted, And I tried on a ton of different styles of wedding dresses because I knew that, you know, I could be swayed. I went with exactly what I wanted, and we just kind of like took that vision and brought it to life. So shout out Gabby. That was such a fun process, and I'm obsessed with the dress, and it all worked out so well. If you're in Vancouver, Love No Bride in general, I'm plugging them right here. They're just lovely. The people that work there are lovely. We had such a fun experience. The dresses they have there are so gorgeous, all of her lines. But yes, my dress is a Trouvel, I think was, yeah, Trouvel was the line that it was from. And we just customized it and add some bits and bobs to it. What gave the inspiration for making parts of my dress removable versus having multiple looks? I wasn't really overly interested in changing a bunch throughout the wedding day. One, that just sounded like more work to do, and two, I didn't want to spend like a ton of money on different outfits and have to pack them, and it just didn't feel as much me. And so I liked the idea of having something that was more customizable. When it comes to the sleeves, I knew I wanted sleeves. Like from the jump, I was like, sleeves are non-negotiable for me. But it'd be cool if they were detachable, because then later in the evening I could like take my sleeves off and have a bit of a different look, or like my train cape thing came off because I knew I wanted that for the ceremony, but not necessarily to dance in it and eat with it. We just kind of made every customization to it removable so I could adjust and alter looks overnight. It's a lot more cost effective doing it that way. It packs way smaller than multiple looks. And then I'm not wasting any time during the day going back, changing, doing a new look. Like, it's just more time I got to spend dancing and hanging out with my partner and our families. And who officiated our ceremony? So because it's a symbolic ceremony abroad, which we'll get into in a little bit, because it's, anyways, logistics, government doesn't recognize weddings in Spain. It's a symbolic ceremony anyway, so you can kind of pick anyone. And it was important to us that during such like a personal moment for us, there wasn't a stranger like a foot away from us saying these things and, you know, about marriage. And so my brother is someone who's very close to both my partner and I, and he officiated the ceremony and he wrote the entire script, and it was so well done, and it was just really special to have it that way, to just keep it just family within that moment where we had the ceremony. Did we write our own vows? Yes, we did. We wrote our own vows, which was really important to us, and it was part of the ceremony, and I almost didn't get through mine, but we made it through. And writing the vows and hearing his vows was something I was really looking forward to on the wedding day. And so if you have the opportunity to write your own vows, I highly recommend it. Whether you say it in front of everyone or you share them in private, it's quite special. Even just, I remember when I was writing my vows, just being able to reflect on our journey and, you know, what he means to me and the impact he's had in my life. And that alone was just like a really special kind of reflection time. Yeah, so I highly recommend it. Did we have a DJ or an MC? We did not. We actually opted for live music. I've always wanted live music at a wedding, and so that was one of my big things. So when, you know, we had the ceremony, the walk down the aisle, we had live cello and violin playing like covers. Think like Bridgerton vibes. It was really fun. And then after dinner for first dances and then into the evening, we had a band come in and, you know, perform our first dances, and then our little dancing portion was just live, and it was so much fun, like a core memory of the evening for sure. Anything we would do differently now that it's done? I don't think so. And just to give you an idea, like we had the wedding, we'll call it like week, right? So we had the first day, everyone arrived, we had little welcome bags for everyone. We had a welcome dinner, which the same chef that was preparing our food on the wedding day did our welcome dinner as well. The following day, we went into town. We had like a nice beach day. Everyone was kind of adjusting to time zone. We just had some good quality family time, hung out at the villa. We had, in corporate fashion, a good old meeting, and we kind of went through run of show for the next day and anything, you know, any expectations, any questions for people. The following day was wedding day. And then the day after that was like a more chill morning. And then what, it wasn't chill? Oh no, it wasn't chill. We went on a big hike. It was supposed to be chill. It was more like anyone could do what they want, but then we got up and I was like, who wants to hike? So we did a big hike. And then after that, we chartered a couple boats and we spent the day or the afternoon on the water with our families. And then the day after that, people checked out at various times throughout the day and then flew out. So that was kind of like the wedding trip. Would we do anything different? I don't think so. We were really happy with everything, and like, I don't think I would do anything differently. It felt very us at the end of the day, and I think that that's what matters. We had a lot of fun and a lot of really good memories, so no regrets. I don't know. About the wedding day specifically, you had everyone together for multiple days. Did it add stress or make things more enjoyable? I think it made things more chill because everyone had arrived, which, you know, is obviously a stress point with destination weddings, making sure everyone gets there in one piece and gets there on time and no flights are canceled. So everyone getting there and then just being able to like adjust a bit to time zones and everything before the big day, I think made things feel a lot more chill, because we also knew we had a lot of time with people and not had to be like, oh, we need to spend every second with them today because they leave tomorrow and we only have a day. And so I think it made it more chill. I also really enjoy trip planning, so the planning aspect of that wasn't any more stressful to me. I think it also, like, my partner and I came to the venue or the villa. We checked in the day before everyone arrived, so we could kind of like get a lay of the land, but also decide, you know, where we wanted the dancing and where we wanted the ceremony and where we wanted flowers and where we wanted to walk, like what our aisle would be. I think having the more time reduced the amount of stress because we were able to like meet with our coordinator in person beforehand. And yeah, no, I don't think it added more stress. What was my favorite moment of the day? Hearing my partner's vows or getting ready with the girls was fun. Just dancing, I think, was a lot of fun. That was like a core memory for me, was just like dancing, and it was gorgeous and everyone was like up and having fun. It was one of those moments too where it's just like, how is this real life? And everyone was just like happy and carefree and enjoying it and in the moment. And those are some moments I'm gonna remember forever. What was your favorite? When I walked down the aisle, or when I came out of the house, because the ceremony area was elevated, you could kind of see me before like I officially started walking. And so I saw him up in the aisle, and I just stopped and gave him the biggest wave. And that was like our first moment of seeing each other, which was very on brand for us and very fun. Yeah, I'm coming. That was fun. How does it legally work within Canada? So like I said, it's a symbolic ceremony, so we still have to file paperwork within Canada to make it like government official here. And so they won't recognize that wedding necessarily in terms of like your legal paperwork. We still have to file paperwork here. That's pretty much it. And then because I live in Canada and the province we live in, like every province is different. And so we don't just have to do paperwork here. We have to do like a ceremony and get like a government official to say a couple words, blah, blah, blah. And so that's just, can you tell I'm thrilled about that? I just don't care about that piece of it at all. Like that to me isn't marriage. Marriage is like the commitment to each other. And a lot of people have asked me since too, like, how do you feel? Do you feel different? I feel the same, because nothing in our relationship has changed at all versus pre-marriage. It was just nice to have that time to celebrate us and our journey and be with our families and like really take that time to celebrate our relationship. All right, final question. Do I have the post-wedding blues, which I've learned is a thing? I don't, but I do have more free time that I'm not thinking about. All right, say my mental load has lessened because I don't have to think about this stuff anymore. And so it's not so much blues of like, oh, I'm so sad it's over. I'm like, I'm so happy it happened. I'm not necessarily like sad it's over. I just have a bit more time now that I'm like, do I have more time? I say that and I'm like, no, I still got a bunch of stuff going on. So maybe that isn't true. I'm like, okay, what's next? Like I love projects and I love doing things, and I probably need to practice a bit more scaling back and not taking on as much, but I'm like, okay, what can I take on next? This is exciting. What's next kind of thing. So not necessarily blues, but just kind of like, all right, I had this mental space clear up. Now what? Anyways, if there are more things that you are curious about when it comes to wedding, destination wedding, what we did, different things we did, let me know in the comments and I will do my best to get back to you. But yeah, as of now, the wedding chapter of my life, she's closed. I say as of now as if this is like not my last marriage. I probably should have worded that differently. Whatever, you get what I mean. That's all I got for you, work besties. As always, thank you for being here. I really, truly appreciate it. And thank you for so much excitement and hype and positivity surrounding the content that I did share wedding-wise, the photos that I shared. It makes my day, or makes me just feel so appreciative to know that there's so many people out there cheering me on and supporting me. And so your impact on our community online, your impact on my life doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you. And I'll see you in the next video. Toodaloo, work besties.